So Prabhupada did not give up anything. Instead, he used everything he could in service of Krishna. It is not our nature to give up. We should, in fact, look at everything in relation to Krishna. Because many people say we need to be renounced. So then people think, okay, renounced means give up. Don't eat, don't talk, don't use things, don't travel by aeroplanes, give up modern technology. But we have been hearing from Bhagavatam that Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna. This whole material world belongs to Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. So nothing belongs to us. So what can we give up? When we say, oh, I have renounced, but it never belongs to us anyway. So what have we renounced if it doesn't belong? So Prabhupada, what he used to do, and he taught us, use everything for service of Krishna. Whatever we have, use it in the service of Krishna. Then it is not our nature to give up. We feel, oh, I want to be detached. I want to be detached, but not possible for us to be detached because that's not the nature of the soul. You see, we are always getting attached. If we say, oh, I'm so detached, then we are still attached to the idea of being detached. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I didn't get it. It's very confusing.
Okay, because many people say, oh, I'm so detached. Huh? I'm detached.
You don't want to have your more in anything, right? That attachment you don't want.
No, so that's what we are trying to say. It's not possible for us not to have no attachment. It's not possible. We just have to change that. It's our nature.
Attachment to material things, you have attachment to Krishna.
Yeah.
So how do you that after being detached also you're still attached? How does that work?
Because then you're attached to the idea of being detached. I'm so detached. Oh, I'm so detached. But are we detached? We are attached to the idea of being detached then. Right? So that's also an attachment. So true detachment means getting attached to Krishna. That is true detachment. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we are like, oh, no, I can't be attached to anyone. I can't be attached to my family, for example. I'm detached. But that's just, we are thinking we are detached. Are we really detached? We are just attached to the idea that I'm detached. But we are not. We can't be detached. It's not in our nature. So family also, look at them. They are parts and parcels of Krishna. Everyone belongs to Krishna. Yes, we are attached to family. Of course, we are going to be attached. Not possible for us not to be attached. So, yeah, everyone belongs to Krishna, and so we are attached like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So look at everything in relation to Krishna. That is true detachment. Or any circumstance, anyone, anything, look at it in relation to Krishna. That is true detachment. So always seeing, oh, how I can connect this to Krishna. How is this related to Krishna? Always, we need to do that. So then Raganuga Bhakti is Bhakti by following in the footsteps of people of Vrindavan. So what is the Brajvasi? What Bhakti do? They have that natural, spontaneous attraction for Krishna. You go there, they'll all say Thakurji, our Thakurji. They refer to Lord Krishna as Thakurji. And then Radharani, anywhere you go, they'll be all Radhe Radhe. They have that natural, spontaneous attraction to Krishna. And so that is Raganuga Bhakti. Now, we don't have it. What shall we do? We don't have Raganuga Bhakti. But what we are doing is Vedhi Sadhana Bhakti. What is Vedhi Sadhana Bhakti? We are doing Bhakti by following the rules and regulations which are prescribed in the scriptures. What are the rules and regulations prescribed in the scriptures? You hear, you chant, you worship the deity. That's what it is. That is Bhakti. And then the more we do that, the more our attachment for Krishna will develop. The devotion will develop. So we can't artificially artificially say, yeah, I'm on the Raganuga platform. And what are the devotees of Raganuga platform doing? They're doing the same thing. They're also hearing chanting, worshipping the deity, but they're not forced to do it. They have that natural desire that they want to do it. People don't have to force them, oh, you chant your rounds. No, they want to. The people don't have to force them, you hear about Krishna. No, they want to, like that, or worship the deity. They want to. So that's that natural, spontaneous. Then Ragatmika Bhakti. This bhakti is done by the gopis, Krishna's friends, and his parents. So then we have been reading Krishna book. Krishna book, we see how Krishna's associates are there in Vrindavan. The gopis are there, his friends are there, his parents are there. They are all doing bhakti. All that is bhakti, this loving relationship. And that bhakti is called Ragatmika Bhakti. Raga Atmika. What we are doing is Vedhi Bhakti, Sadhana Bhakti. We follow the rules and regulations. So, but the gopis and the Brajbasis, they have Ragatmika Bhakti. So we should have the greed. I'm a rascal, but I still want to follow the footsteps of people of Vrindavan. Have that desire, have that greed. That, oh, they have this natural love for Krishna. I don't have it. I wish I would have it. We should have that greed. That's called lolium. That greed is called lolium. And hearing and chanting are very important for Raganuga Bhakti. Qualification for Raganuga Bhakti is the greed to attain it. We should want to have that natural attachment for Krishna, the spontaneous attraction for Krishna. And just hanker for it. Just have the desire. I should get it. I want to get it. But hearing and chanting, we have to hear and chant. Hearing and chanting is like pouring water on the plant. If we don't pour water on the plant will die. So this hearing and chanting has to be done regularly. Then, would somebody like to read this? We should think of Krishna.
I can read.
Okay.
We should think of Krishna within ourselves. Choose a devotee who is a servant of Krishna in Vrindavan, like the gopis or Mother Yashoda or Krishna's friends. And we should meditate on their activities and how they try to please Krishna. Always be engaged in the topics of the servant and his loving relationship to Krishna. Live in Vrindavan, and if cannot, then live in Vrindavan mentally. Meditate on the relation. Take shelter of Vrindavan mentally. We should absorb our mind in Vrindavan. We should do service internally and externally. Internally as our position in the spiritual world, and externally by following rules and regulations. Internal body to be developed by meditation. It is called Siddha Rupa. External body is called Sadhaka Rupa.
So this is the higher stages of bhakti. Higher stages that outside nobody will know what you're thinking inside. Outside you're still hearing, chanting, you're worshipping the deity, but internally already on the spiritual body, already we understand what's my relationship with Krishna. And that does not need to be advertised. It's a very high stage of devotion, not easy to get, but we are being told about this in Nectar of Devotion, that you can get it in this life. You can get it. Think of Krishna within oneself. Krishna is the Paramatma in our heart. And then choose a devotee who's a servant of Krishna in Vrindavan, like gopis or Mother Yashoda. So this is Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti is where we are attracted to a particular personality in Vrindavan and we want to follow in their footsteps. No imitation, not imitation. Oh, I've become a gopi now and I'm going to go dance. No, that is imitation. But it means follow the mood. What is the mood? How much they love Krishna, how much they want to please Krishna. That is the mood. Then that is internal meditation. There's nothing external. External, we hear and chant. Hearing, chanting, worshipping the deity, associate with devotees. But internally, we can do this. Because, of course, it's a very high stage, but it's given to us for our information. Then Rupa Goswami was externally serving Lord Chaitanya, and internally he was assisting Krishna as Rupa Manjari. So the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they are 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. They are all the time hearing and chanting in Vrindavan, we see. But their spiritual position, their original identity in the spiritual world, they are Manjaris. Manjaris are the young assistants of the gopis. They are younger than the gopis. They are friends of the gopis, and they are always helping the gopis to do their service to Radha and Krishna. So Srila Rupa Goswami, his spiritual identity in Golok Vrindavan is Rupa Manjari. Similarly, we have the information of the other Goswamis also. There is a book called Ganodesh, Gaur Ganodesh Dipika. In that book, the spiritual identity of the acharyas is mentioned. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he is Bhaktivinoda Thakur here. He was here 200-300 years ago, outside hearing, chanting, teaching everyone about how to engage in bhakti. But his spiritual identity is he's Kamla Manjari. He's also a Manjari. So we can see most of our acharyas, they are Manjaris. So Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari. Internally, outside he showed that he's a Goswami, all the time hearing, chanting, very perfect behavior. And then internally he's assisting Krishna and Radharani as Rupa Manjari. So Rupa Manjari is under Lalita Shakhi. Lalita and Vishakha, they are the 2 main gopis who are always assisting Radha and Krishna. Well, there are 8 main Sakhis. Out of the 8, Lalita Shakhi and Vishakha Shakhi, they are the really intimate associates, and Rupa Manjari is always under Lalita Devi. So then what was Rupa Goswami's sadhana? He conquered eating and sleeping. He barely would eat and sleep, not artificially, but because he's internally, his consciousness is with Radha and Krishna. He's inside, he was in this world, but not of this world. His consciousness is with Radha Krishna, always meek and humble. He was always very meek, very humble. He gave up all the wealth to accept the life of a mendicant. He was very, very rich, very rich. If compared to today's time, they would be billionaires. But he gave up everything to become a Goswami in Vrindavan. Now, how could you do that? How could he give up all the wealth, all the palace that he's living in, and then live under the trees? Because he was already situated in his relationship with Krishna. He's feeling the bliss of Krishna Prema. Then what he would do, he would study all the scriptures. He studied all the scriptures, lived under a different tree every night, not even under the same tree. So that not to get attached to the tree, go anywhere. He's a sannyasi, totally at the mercy of Krishna. Then what was he doing? He wrote the scriptures because Lord Chaitanya specifically empowered him to write the Bhakti Shastras for us, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. And this Nectar of Devotion is the English compilation by Srila Prabhupada of this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. So, and always remembered the qualities of Krishna. Always he was, his consciousness was with Krishna. So internally we can meditate on the activities of Rupa Manjari, how she would serve Radharani, bring her water, massage her lotus feet, give her betel nut, arrange secret meetings between Radha and Krishna. So this was Rupa Manjari's activities. These are Rupa Manjari's activities in the spiritual world, in Golok Vrindavan. Rupa Manjari is doing that, but she came as Rupa Goswami about 500 years ago to teach us how to engage in bhakti, how to hear and chant, how to worship the deity. So all this might sound esoteric if you all have not heard of it before. It might sound strange, but this is the spiritual identity of Rupa Manjari. of Rupa Goswami. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes. So this, what you are trying to tell is the spiritual identity, right? Like, as you always say, that each one of us has a spiritual identity, a connection to Krishna.
Yes.
So this is their connection to Krishna,
Yes.
because, and they acquired it because they did a lot of bhakti, right? Because they are at that level.
Yes. Just
Yeah.
one moment, please. Just.
Yeah, no problem. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama.
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Thank you. So yes, so each of us have a spiritual identity, and so here we are being informed of the spiritual identity of Srila Rupa Goswami, the original identity. That's his original identity.
Okay.
And of course, because he's a close associate of Lord Chaitanya, so he's Rupa Manjari in Krishna Lila, and he is Rupa Goswami in Chaitanya Lila, because his desire to serve Krishna is so much. So he is in Krishna Lila and he is in Chaitanya Lila, both the places. So in the spiritual world, Golok Vrindavan, there is a part which is Navadvip, where Lord Chaitanya is there, Lord Nityananda is there, and all his eternal associates are there. So Rupa Goswami is also there in the Navadvip part of Golok Vrindavan, where hearing and chanting is going on, Sankirtan is going on eternally. Lord Chaitanya is having his Sankirtan with the devotees eternally. This is the spiritual identity. So you, me, each of us have a spiritual identity. We just have to realize it. Nobody can artificially tell us what's our spiritual identity. And we should not even listen if somebody's going to tell that to us, because it will be revealed in good time, the more we hear and chant. It's very high stage, of course, very, very high stage, very pure, but, you know. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Let's just read this. Bhava Bhakti. What is Bhava Bhakti? Is when the heart softens for Krishna and desires to meet him. Right now, our heart, we have a lot of desires. We have very many desires, but most of them are to do with the body. How I can make this body happy and comfortable. How I can make the people who are connected to my body comfortable and happy. But in Bhava, what happens is the desire to meet Krishna is a very predominant desire. It's the heart just yearns to meet Krishna, and that's when the heart is soft. Right now, our hearts are very, very hard. Our hearts are very hard because we have forgotten Krishna. But the more we hear and chant, our heart will soften. And when our heart is soft enough, then Krishna will steal that heart. Soft butter-like heart, Krishna will steal. So below are the symptoms of one in Bhava Bhakti. These symptoms cannot be imitated, nor can they be hidden. So if somebody will say artificially, yes, I'm on the platform of Bhava. So they should have these symptoms, but they can't be imitated. But somebody can't even hide them. Let's see what they are. Never waste time, but always engaged in devotional service. 24 hours. 24 hours engaged in devotional service. Never waste time. Like we saw Srila Prabhupada. Never waste time. Barely sleeping at night. Sleeping 1.5, 2 hours. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan barely slept half an hour. That also just to keep the mind and body together. So this is Bhava. Always engaged in devotional service. To remain tolerant and patient even among great disturbance. Great disturbances came their way, but always tolerant, always patient. Indifference to objects of sense gratification. They don't care. Yes, they are seeing everything as a tool, as a tool to serve Krishna. Not that, oh, this thing is, I'm going to get pleasure about it. No. Oh, I have this thing. Let me see, how can I use it to please Krishna? That's their consciousness. Bhava, because the emotion is already there. Bhava for Krishna, the emotion for Krishna is very strong. They cannot forget Krishna for a moment. Here we have to remind ourselves of Krishna. No? And if we remember Krishna, we think, oh, I did such a great thing. Out of 1,000 thoughts, we'll have one thought of Krishna and we'll say, I am such a great devotee. I remember Krishna. But in Bhava, it's difficult to forget Krishna. Very difficult to forget Krishna. Pridelessness, no pride, no pride. Then firm faith that Krishna will deliver even though one feels qualified. So the devotee feels himself very unqualified for Krishna's love, for Krishna's relationship, but he has the firm faith. Avishya Rakshite Krishna. Avishya Rakshite Krishna. Eagerness for achieving loving service. Because Bhava is one step from Prema. First comes Bhava, then comes Prema. So Bhava means Prema is already almost there. It's like a flower. You see a flower in the form of a bud. The bud is opening. Not yet fully open. You know, the rose, I don't know if you all have seen, the rose flowers are there, the buds are there. It's opened a little bit, but not fully blossomed. So when it's opened a little, that is compared to Bhav Bhakti. The Bhav is already there for Krishna. But the full-fledged Prema is not yet there. That's the next step. But it's very soon. That happens very soon. Then constant attraction to chant. The devotee is just chanting the whole day. Constant attraction to chant. Doesn't have to force. It's not waiting to see when will I finish my 16 rounds. Addiction to glorify Krishna's qualities. Just talking about Krishna. Nothing else. And desire to live in the holy dham. So these are the symptoms of Bhava Bhakti. And then they cannot be imitated. Can't imitate 24 hours. You know, can't, because our truth will be shown. If somebody follows us, like the reality TV, you know, for a few hours, we may be able to maintain our whatever we are trying to show. But after that, it will be evident. So after Bhava is Prema, pure love of God. It happens very fast. From between Bhava and Prema is fast. What we have to continue doing, even at the stage of Bhava, what the devotee does, continues to hear and chant. Hearing and chanting is never given up. Even in the Golok Vrindavan, the devotees are hearing and chanting. Pure love of God exists in everyone's heart. Pure love of God exists in everyone's heart. So in your heart, my heart, everyone's heart, pure love of Krishna is there. By the mercy of a devotee and Krishna, this love is awakened. And the devotee serves Krishna in his original spiritual position. We each have an original spiritual position. And we each have a particular service. Like, what is Rupa Manjari's service? Rupa Manjari, she serves Radharani. She brings her water, massages her lotus feet, gives her betel nuts. This is Rupa Manjari's service. Similarly, we also have, we don't know what it is. We don't know what's our service right now. Because right now we are just thinking we are the body. We have forgotten. We also have a spiritual position, and we also have a particular service, how we serve Radha and Krishna. And it's always under the superior devotees. Like Rupa Manjari is always serving under Lalita Devi, Lalita Shakhi, you know. And so Srila Prabhupada, he's serving under Rupa Goswami. Srila Prabhupada is serving under Rupa Goswami. Prabhupada would say in Golok Vrindavan, there we have ISKCON there in Golok Vrindavan, you know, where Prabhupada is there under Rupa Manjari. And he's waiting for all of us to go there and serve there in our spiritual body. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So what do we have to do is continue hearing and chanting. These are very high stages, but the information is given to us. So to show us what's coming ahead, you know, to show. And Yeah, and it's all by hearing and chanting. Just continue hearing and chanting. And our desire, our greed to get it. That was what's said here. And we should have the greed to attain Raganuga Bhakti. We should have that deep, intense desire to get it. So the more we hear and chant, the more the greed we will get. Any comments or any questions?
No, all good.
All good.
Yesterday there was a class of Baldev Prabhu, and he said the same thing, like on the sound, that importance of chanting. That when we chant, we don't know, but the Krishna is working. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is working. He is so merciful. Like we did the Cheto Darpan Marjanam, that starts when we start, immediately when we start chanting, even if we are taking in any form the name, even parihas, or we are just telling anybody anything about the location or anything. So the moment we take the name, Krishna takes the broom and he starts sweeping the dust that's accumulated in our heart. The same moment. So we don't understand, but it's very, very powerful.
Yeah, hearing and chanting. As you just said, Krishna, he takes the broom, he becomes our servant. Then that's what, I always wonder, who's the servant here? We are saying, oh, we are serving Krishna, we are serving Krishna. Actually, he's serving us. We are just sitting and chanting, and he's the one who's cleaning all the dirt from our heart. We put dirty things there. We don't know how to take it, and Krishna is taking the dirty things out. We always keep the dirty things for the servants. Let the servant come and clean the dirt. That's what we make Krishna do. But he does it. He's doing it. Only thing we have to do is hear and chant, and he's doing it for us. That's why it makes me wonder, who's the servant here, He's so kind and he's so loving. He's so loving. So just continue.
हम और चैंटिंग करती है, वो भी तो वो इंद्रिया भी भगवान ने दी हुई है ना.
हाँ, इंद्रिया भी भगवान ने दिया है. Yeah. Some
everything is Krishna and Krishna's.
Yeah. He's making the arrangements. We just have to have that desire. That's all, that sincerity.
Yes.
That's the only thing. So just continue hearing and chanting. And go back home, back to Godhead, to serve the eternal couple, to serve Radha and Krishna in our eternal forms. But of course, the pure devotee, what do they say? That, okay, we hear and chant, and my dear Krishna, whatever is your will. I don't care where you're going to take me in the next life. Like in the Shikshastakam, Lord Caitanya says, where I don't care where you're going to bring me in the next life. Just give me your devotional service, birth after birth. Let me fix my consciousness at your lotus feet. Pick me up from this ocean of birth and death and place me as a particle of dust at your lotus feet. Means let my mind, my consciousness be fixed at your lotus feet. And the pure devotee, because he is already in his relationship with Krishna, then he doesn't care where he's going. Because then Krishna sends the pure devotees to different planets, different universes, to tell people like us that, hey, you're not the body, you're the soul, get out of here. So that's what the pure devotees pray. And they tell us, go back home, back to Godhead. Shall we stop here for today?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for joining in. Nectar of Devotion ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hare.